Hey everybody, Dev here from Blizzard Lighting, and I just wanted to run you through how to set up some lights on Atful. I'll take you through the entire process of setting up this entire rig here. As you can see here, we have a couple of different fixtures on this truss, but the first thing we're going to want to set up is our socket. While Atful works with any Wi-Fi enabled ArtNet or SACN devices, I'm going to be using the socket today to connect and send messages to these fixtures wirelessly. So to get things started, let's actually add our socket. First off, we're going to want to go to Configure. Now from here you can see that we already have a socket, but I wanted to take you through the setup process as well. So let's hit the plus button on the bottom and we'll select socket. So as you can see here, it does bring in our SSID, but we do need to type in the password of our Wi-Fi to get the socket on the same network as this device. And I'll give this a name and I'll hit connect. Now, depending on if this is your first time using the app, it might prompt you for permission to see your location. We don't actually use your location. However, we do use the network permission, which is tied to the location. So I'll hit join. And in the background, this is connecting to the socket. It is then passing your Wi-Fi credentials you provided to it, and it is enabling the Wi-Fi mode on the socket. So after you've added your socket, this will prompt you with a few options. While we are ready to start patching our fixtures, let's take a look at the advanced configuration just to go over a few things. So right away, you're going to be brought to the network tab. This is where you would go if you wanted to change the Wi-Fi later without doing a factory reset of your socket, as well as a few other more advanced networking ArtNet options. The next tab is Protocols. From here, you can select ArtNet or SACN, or you can assign your socket a universe. One thing to note is that the universe in Atful assumes that you're starting at 0. So if you have a device that looks like it starts at universe 1 rather than 0, just subtract 1 here. Next up is the Tools tab. So the Tools tab is mostly just device-specific controls. As you can see here, we have a lot because we are using a socket. We can edit or play back the show file that is on the socket itself. We could also monitor the DMX, rename it, things like that. And lastly, under configuration is the mini console. Now I like to use the mini console as more of a testing tool, just to make sure that the socket is assigned to the right universe and my fixtures are assigned to the right channels. Obviously, we haven't actually set up any fixtures yet in the app, but this is where you could go to troubleshoot any problems that you might be having with connectivity. But that's it. Again, we didn't actually change any of the configurations from the default. I just wanted to show you what we have available. You can find these options again by just going under config. You can see our demo socket is right here. By tapping on it, it'll take you back to where we were. So now that we have a device listening to our messages, let's patch our fixtures. So under patch, you can see that I already have a few here, but let's make a new one. These patches are just a collection of fixtures to try to keep things organized. All right, so we don't have any fixtures yet, so let's add these ones that I have on this truss. Hit the plus on the bottom. You can search by the brand name or the fixture name. So we're going to be adding some Hypno beams. Once you've selected your fixture from the library, it'll present you with this form. Since we set up our socket already, we can select it from this drop down. Sending messages directly to the device is a lot faster than broadcasting, which can be pretty apparent when you're using fades or some of our other animations. Next, assign your fixture the starting DMX. If you're not sure where this is, it's probably found on the fixture itself. Looks like the Hypno beams here start at 134. Next up, DMX universe. Now this universe is actually populated by the device that you have it connected to, so we'll just leave that alone. And finally, the profiles. Again, if you're not sure, you can refer to your fixture for this information. This all looks good. Since we're adding 6 of these, I'm going to change the count to 6. This will automatically increment the starting DMX and the unique ID for each of the additional fixtures. And there you have it, there are our Hypno beams. I'll do the exact same process to add these winks. There we go. Now obviously we don't have every single fixture in our library. If you do find that yours isn't here, you can always add it manually by hitting the button in the top right corner. Provide some basic information. The time-consuming part about adding your own fixture is building the DMX profile. We've provided a few templates to get you started. However, for more complicated fixtures with lots of channels, this can still take a while. We suggest referring to your fixtures manual to add these. However, we do provide a test slider on the right here to try to figure out what the channel's function is. And that's it. The other main functionality of the patch section in Atful is to actually control each one of these fixtures. Now, a lot of the time you're not going to want to actually control them all individually, so you can set up groups. Select any fixtures you'd like in the group. And boom, let's add a wink group too. Sorry, cool LED, you didn't make the cut. So now you can control these groups individually, or if you'd like to control all of your fixtures at the same time, just tap the control button at the bottom. These tools are mapped to the names of the different channel functions. It looks like all our fixtures have at least RGB, so we get a color wheel. If you'd like to get more hands-on, there's always the list of sliders. At the top you can see that the common functions are listed. This will allow you to change all of the fixtures at the same time. But wow, that's too many sliders, you might be thinking. I just want to hit a few buttons and for my light show to start. Well, you're in luck. Next up, we'll set up a show. So you can get to your shows from the main menu and hit the plus button at the bottom to create a new show. And we'll give our show a name. Next, we can specify a default scene length. This specifies the amount of seconds that we want each one of our looks to take. I think half a second would work. Then we'll select the patch that we've created. So each one of these items that we select is represented in our timeline by a row. To keep things simple, I'll just select our two groups. However, if you wanted to control your lights individually, you could select each one. At the top are our presets. Right now we're looking at the colors. The easiest way to create a show is to just drag and drop these presets onto your timeline. Let's make the hip nose orange and the wings purple. Now we can select the fades category and drop in a few fades. Back to colors, we can throw green onto the end of each timeline, and voila, we've created a quick color transition. But let's say we wanted to get a little more complicated. By tapping on any of these frames that we've added, we can add scenes before and after. Let's make our hypnose spin around. Select custom scene. And here are all those sliders again. In this example, we'll have the hypnose start near the center. And since we might reuse this scene, let's give it a name and save it to our presets. Looks good, let's add it. Now we'll point the hypnose in a different direction. And we'll test it out. Looks like that's going a little too fast. Let's add a fade to it. Oh yeah, much better. And those are the basics. Dragging and dropping your presets and creating new scenes. We're constantly adding new tools to help you create the best show. So be sure to check back anytime you see a new update. One additional feature that I wanted to point out though is the Manage Fixtures list. From here you can see that all of our fixtures are looking good. However, if for some reason the socket wasn't on or wasn't properly configured, we could see that here. Let's get that back online. Thanks for checking out our basic at-full tutorial. As we develop new features for at-full, we plan on releasing new tutorial videos on this channel, so be sure to check back. Rock on, Blizzites.